Good morning. We'd like to welcome everybody to today's Conference Committee meeting. We have a few topics today that it should not take long, at least we hope so. If we could we please do the roll? Katie, could you start the roll?
Chairman Emmerich,
Oh, sorry.
Here.
Armanini, Bernstein,
Vote by designation.
Marla Brown, Diorsi, Gatos, Kephart,
Vote by designation.
Shuren, Stanbaugh, Stender, Torzik, Chairman Conklin,
Here.
Bellman, Eamon Brown,
Vote by designation.
Carroll,
Here.
Sapita Fritiz,
Vote by designation.
Kenyatta,
Vote by designation.
Monroe,
Vote by designation.
Parker,
Here.
Pielli,
Vote by designation.
Piscatano,
Vote by designation.
Powell, Rab,
Vote by designation.
Salisbury,
Vote by designation.
and Waxman.
Vote by designation. With that, we'll start the agenda. Our first bill up for consideration will be the Robinson Bill. It'd be Senate Bill 667. Can we have a brief description of the Robinson Bill?
Yes. Senate Bill 667, sponsored by Senator Robinson, would allow for debit card, credit card, mobile payment services, or other electronic payment methods to be used for purchasing raffle tickets.
Representative Parker makes a motion, seconded by Representative Powell. Is there any discussion or comment on the bill? Are there any negative votes on the Robinson Bill? Seeing no negative votes, the bill passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next bill for considerations would be the Mullins Bill. That would be House Bill 2535, Right to Repair. Could you give us a description of the bill?
Yes, House Bill 2535, sponsored by Representative Mullins, establishes the Right to Repair Act.
The bill has two amendments on it. May I have a motion to bring up Amendment A05634, and can we have a quick description of the amendment?
Amendment A05634, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, gives an original equipment manufacturer the option for product replacement or reimbursement at no charge to the customer.
Thank you. The bill brought up by Representative Mullins, seconded by
Parker.
Parker. Oh, sorry, Representative Parker,
And seconded by Powell.
seconded by Powell. Thank you. Any discussion on the amendment now that I know where I'm at?
Mr. Chairman, over here.
Representative Shuren?
So I just have a quick question about this one. I understand that, we have quite a number of exceptions in the bill, but for the language of this amendment to actually be a typical mission statement of any OEM manufacturer, I'm wondering what the necessarily is for the amendment itself. Giving a company the option to replace or reimburse a customer for their product seems pretty standard, pretty general, and probably in everybody's business model already. So just wondering what the need is for this amendment.
We'll have our Executive Director, Ms. Ridgway.
Thank you for your question, Representative Shuren. This amendment would be more consumer-friendly for customers who may not have the knowledge of how to repair their product. Instead of trying to go through the rigmarole of doing so, they can opt to have it replaced.
Any other questions or comment on the amendment? With done, we'll call vote. Are there any negative amendments? If there are, we'll have a roll call vote. Seeing no, the amendment passes unanimously. I will need a motion to bring up the second amendment, A05640. Carroll, Representative Carroll, and Waxman. Can we have a brief description of Amendment A05640?
Yes, Amendment A05640, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, adds the definition for security and life safety systems and equipment, exempts it from the bill, and clarifies that this does not apply to battery replacement for residential smoke detectors.
Any questions or comments on the Second Amendment? Seeing no comments, are there any negative votes? Seeing no negative votes, the amendment passes unanimously. With that, can I have a motion to bring up House Bill 2535, the Mullen Bill as amended? Representative Waxman, seconded by Representative Powell. Thank you. And I believe we have a special guest with us today. Sir, could you be so kind to introduce yourself and give us a little overview of your bill? Thank you, Representative.
Thank you to both chairmen and to your staffs and to members of the committee for having me. I will be brief, as I've learned less is more often, but I'm happy to answer any questions. This is a complicated bill, but the premise and intent behind it is rather simple. This is a consumer-friendly bill in which you would think that it is common sense to just when we have our personal devices, of course, our cell phones come to mind, that we should have the right to take them to the most convenient and qualified repair center possible without worry of voiding a warranty, but also with the expectation that it be repaired in a timely way. Now, which is a pretty straightforward premise. Upon introducing this bill, you then realize just how many things there are in this world that could potentially be repaired. So you see the list of exemptions and considerations within the language is quite extensive because of just our broad range of technologies that needed to be considered. But I really appreciate all of the work of the stakeholder community, the Right to Repair Coalition, and key staff, and to Mr. Chairman for considering the bill and getting it to the place where it is now. And we will continue to work through the process to make sure concerns are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Mullins. Are there any questions or concern on the bill as amended? Any comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Mullins. This is one of those bills that's really tough. It is complicated. It is complex. I actually really support the idea of your bill and the concepts of it a great deal, actually. And I'm glad we had a hearing on this legislation. I thought it was very productive and very helpful. And I'm just not 100% sure that it's quite ready. And I know we're very late in the session and things like that. So, I'm torn on where I should be, which doesn't usually happen. And there's still a lot of opposition to the legislation. And as we discussed in the hearing and some other places, like there are industries where this makes all the sense in the world, and there are some industries where it really makes no sense. So for the moment, I'm going to cautiously be a no, but I apologize for that, actually. But I just think there are more questions, there are more things that we should work through to get this to a more finalized product. But I think you're on the right track. I think it's got some really good intentions and some really good possible outcomes as we go forward. So I just wanted to say that for the committee, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chairman Emmerich. And I appreciate the comments because, as you know, Representative, there's been a lot of discussion on this bill. We've had a lot of our stakeholders get involved in it. And we also know that as we pass this through today, that conversation is going to continue. And I'm sure we all realize that to get this across the finish line, this is probably not the last conversation or amendment that may be added to this piece of bill. But as someone that believes in the rights of consumers, I'm with you on this. And I think this is something that really does need addressed and something that we really have to look at going down the road. With that, if there are no other comments, could you please call the roll call vote?
Chairman Emmerich,
No?
Armanini, Bernstein,
No by designation?
Marla Brown, Diorsi,
No.
Gados, Kephart,
No by designation?
Shuren,
No.
Stanball, Stender,
No.
Torzik,
No.
Chairman Conklin,
Yes.
Bellman, Amon Brown,
Yes by designation.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sapita Freites,
Yes by designation.
Kenyatta,
Yes by designation.
Monroe,
Yes by designation.
Parker,
Yes.
Pielli,
Yes by designation.
Piscatano,
Yes by designation.
Howe, Rab,
Yes by designation.
Salisbury,
Yes by designation.
Waxman. Okay, House Bill 2535 passes.
Thank you also very much. The next bill coming up is a resolution by myself. It's House Resolution 443. If you could just give us a quick overview of the resolution.
House Resolution 443, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, urges the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association to establish separate playoffs for charter, private, and public schools.
Now, a lot of folks who've been following this know that I have great respect for charters, privates, Christian, Catholic schools, and I really do believe that these schools give children a great opportunity. They get them out of zip codes that they may not normally be able to get out of in many ways. But all what this resolution does, it doesn't mandate a two playoff system. It doesn't make that the PAAA has to do a two playoff system. All I'm doing today is to encourage them to look more deeply at it because I firmly believe their charter gives them the right. And I'll just give you one little story that happened this weekend, and it was sort of odd that I met this individual. My wife and I were out and we were sitting there, and somebody that we had known came up to tell me how proud she was of her grandson. And the reason she was so proud of him is that he went to one of the local rural schools, and he was going into 10th grade, and they have an opportunity that they never thought they would have. He was recruited by a team out west, a team closer to the southeast, and another school which he decided to go to. And she was telling me how great it was that they got to visit these schools for him to go there to play high school football, and how wonderful it was because he was going to have a scholarship to pay for a whole ride. And what was even better about it is that there was a sponsor that was going to help them financially pick up any other expenses that they may have. Now, believe me, this child deserves that. Believe me, this opportunity to be given to someone is a great opportunity. They also told me the story of the young person that was from a state down south that was injured, and they felt bad because he's not going to be able to fulfill his duties, and they're not sure if his sponsor will be able to work out or not. But still, it's a great opportunity. The reason I tell you that story is that Maryland, New Jersey, other states have what they call a boundary, non-boundary type of system, to where, much like Penn State just played Bowling Green in the regular season, but they will not be playing Bowling Green in the playoffs. Because, let's face it, we're looking at two entirely different college setups. One Power 5, one not. When we're looking at the high schools playing sports, we're looking at the boundaries that the child has to be within that boundary, and we're looking at the non-boundary. So other states have realized that the competition difference. In fact, we have one football team that never plays a school within Pennsylvania until the playoffs at the end of the year, and then they mercy roll every team to play. Great football team, great kids, great coaches, great institution. So all what this resolution says, and it's not a bill, it's just a resolution, that I'm asking the PAAA to really look seriously at a two playoff system. Again, one more time. So the bill doesn't say we're going to have a two playoff system. That was asking me on the way in here. No, it doesn't do that. It's basically just saying that at the end of the day, we want the boundary schools and the non-boundary schools to be in their own competitive leagues. One's a national all-star, one's your local kids. And that's all what this bill does. With that, Chairman, or any other comments on the? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I better make the motion to make this official. May I have a motion to bring House Resolution 443 forward? I'll make the motion, seconded by Kephart, Dallas Kephart. With that, any discussion on the bill?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to
Dorsey.
make a motion.
I'm sorry,
please.
Representative Dorsey.
I'd like to make a motion, please, Mr. Chairman.
You got it.
I move that we refer H.R. 443 to the Education Committee.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Gatos makes a second. We have a first and a second to move HR 443 to the Education Committee. Is there any comment on the motion? Go for it.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman, I actually support the concept of the resolution and the bill that this could become wholeheartedly, actually. Just thinking logically, this is a bill that considers public schools, private schools, and charter schools, and it involves the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association. So that is, in the truest sense, an education bill, not a commerce bill. So just simply logically, that's my motion, and I urge members to support it, please.
Any other comment on the motion?
So if there was to be legislation to move this idea forward, which I wholeheartedly support, as you know, what committee would it be? Would it have to go through education? Do we know the answer? Okay, it would. All right, that was my only question.
And to answer that question, yes, I did legislation and it has not moved. So basically, again, and I do appreciate, I agree, I've tried to do legislation, but there's, for some reason, we can't get it moved. Again, I just want to go back that the resolution is not a binding resolution that makes a playoff system. It's just an encouragement. And for that reason, I'm asking the members to vote no to the motion. Any other comment before we begin the motion? With that, can you take a roll call vote? Sorry. This is just the motion to move this to the other committee, and I'll be asking members to vote no.
Chairman Emmerich,
Yes.
Armanini, Bernstein,
Yes by designation?
Marla Brown, Diorsi, Gatos, Kephart, Shuren,
Yes.
Stambaugh, Stender,
Yes.
Torzik,
Yes.
Chairman Conklin,
No.
Bellman, Eamon Brown,
No by designation?
Carroll,
No.
Sapita Freetiz,
No.
Kenyatta,
No by designation?
Monroe,
No by designation?
Parker,
No.
P. Ellie,
No by designation?
Piscatano,
No by designation?
Howe, Rab,
No by designation?
Salisbury,
No by designation?
Waxman. Okay, motion fails.
Thank you. With that, is there any other comment on the resolution before we move forward with the vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I just mentioned a minute ago, I'm absolutely in support of this. We absolutely have to develop some kind of system where we separate out the postseason for our student athletes. In no way are you denying anyone the opportunity to achieve state championships. That would not change. You are simply changing the model and leveling the playing field so that our boundary or more traditional public schools have a fair opportunity. And without getting into all the details of St. Joe's Prep, as we have done in the past, not to call them out, but it is what it is. Our District 11 champion, whoever that may be, whether it's Nazareth High School, Freedom High School, Easton High School, or whoever, their first round of the state playoffs is St. Joe's Prep, who mercy rolls everybody through the state playoff championship game. And there is no fix under the current system of the PIAA when you are at the highest level. I don't think they have a fix for the lower levels either, personally, but certainly at the 6A level, there is no fix for the problem. So I completely support this and look forward to voting yes.
Any other comments on the resolution before we move forward? With that, I just wanted to make one more comment again, as the chairman said very well. Is no one here is against how these schools, how they operate. We just want to make sure we have a level playing field at the end of the day. That's all what this is about. And it's just about encouraging the PIAA one more time to please take a look and do what other states have done. With that, roll call vote.
Chairman Emmerich,
Yes.
Armanini, Bernstein,
Yes by designation?
Marla Brown, Diorsi, Gatos, Kephart, Shuren, Stambaugh, Stender, Torzik, Chairman Conklin,
Yes.
Bellman, Amon Brown,
Yes by designation.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sapita Freites,
Yes.
Kenyatta,
Yes by designation.
Monroe,
Yes by designation.
Parker,
Yes.
Pielli,
Yes by designation.
Piscatano,
Yes by designation.
Powell, Rab,
Yes by designation.
Salisbury,
Yes by designation.
Waxman. Okay. House Resolution 443 passes.
Thank you. And for our last resolution of the day, this is the exciting one. You always let everything for last. This is by Representative Matzey. It is Resolution 512. May I have a brief description?
House Resolution 512, sponsored by Chairman Massey, would establish October 13th through 19th as Credit Union Week in Pennsylvania.
May I have a motion to bring Resolution 512 forward? Representative Parker. Representative Carroll seconds it. With that, is there any discussion on this exciting week? Chairman? Okay, with that, we have an amendment we'll have to bring up. I need it'll be Amendment A05771. Can you give us a brief description?
Amendment A05571, sponsored by Chairman Conklin, updates some statistics in the resolution and corrects the Credit Union Association's name.
Oh, that's very important. We have a motion to bring that up by Representative Powell, seconded by Representative Waxman. Any comment on the amendment? No comment. Any negative votes? No negative votes. The amendment passed unanimously. May I have a motion to bring up House Resolution 512 as amended? Brought up by Representative Powell,
Bellman.
seconded by Bellman. Any comment, Chairman? Any comment on this exciting resolution? None? With that, any negative votes? No negative votes. House Resolution 512 passes unanimously. And we want to thank you all for coming, and we are now adjourned.